So one of the approaches we are going to look at, that is the scientific management approach. So in the scientific management approach, there are many scholars that have contributed to this management approach, which we are calling the scientific management approach. However, we're going to look at the first proposer of the scientific management approach, called Frederick Winslow Taylor. That if you are to manage an institution, you should have a perspective, or administering human beings in institutions. There are thought patterns that the manager has that govern his or her approaches in the way management actually progresses. So these thoughts, one of the contributors of the thoughts, these thoughts, we use the word thought as a basic language, but in advanced language you use a word theory. Yes, you use the word theory. So there is a theory which is called the scientific management theory. Now, people who use these thoughts or assertions in this theory approach management. They practice a certain way, which we are calling a management approach. So an approach is a way of practicing the theory. So for this case, we are focusing on the scientific management approach, but behind this approach, just know that people are driven by the scientific management theory, all those thoughts. And the scholar we are focusing on is Frederick Winslow Taylor. Frederick Winslow Taylor happens to have been an engineer. So, with the background of engineering and him being that in his lifetime he lived at the time of the Industrial Revolution. So he was working on machines and he was repairing them to make sure that they run properly. So his thoughts about how people should be managed are drawn directly from the engineer's perspective or a mechanic perspective. So as he was attending to machines, he observed that when he repairs a machine and the machine is switched on, that machine operates and does not complain, and the machine does not get tired. But there must be one who switches it on and turns it off, and it actually even feeds it with what it should process. So he views a manager as one attending to the machine, and views the employees in the organization as the machines themselves. So, in his view, he proposes that if people are left to operate without anybody strictly supervising them, or anybody strictly instructing them or giving them specific rules to follow, those people will not be very productive. So, managers, in his proposal, that managers have got to set instructions, to set procedures, and direct employees, for employees to be able to produce, to be productive, and also to be efficient, and that if they are productive and efficient, then these organizations can be profitable. Given the fact that driving perspective to the scientific management theory views employees that these employees should receive instructions and act accordingly, just like a machine receives instruction from its mechanic or in the engineer or even the operator and function that way. He is said to have been a mechanistic theorist. He emphasizes mechanical means of managing workers. And for that reason, workers are not given a breath within to contribute their ideas or suggestions back to the what? To the manager. They are followers of what? Processes and policies that are established. So, he is said, and this scientific management approach is said to be very autocratic in nature. You are, the driving decisions come from a central point. There should be who is saying, then we act. What they have not told us, we don't do. We do what we have been told. And if there is any other suggestion, we need to go to the center and inquire before we take action. So these are autocratic systems. So they are said to exercise maximum power and authority over employees, for employees to achieve productivity, efficiency, and for the organization to be profitable. So the primary goal of scientific managers is achieving maximum productivity, efficiency, and profitability for the organization. So ultimately, the organization achieves its goal because the manager has created that environment where the rules are exercised upon employees, they are regulated, and there is strict control, so that there is still that main goal: productivity, efficiency, and profitability achieved. So managers who use an approach which is scientific in nature, they overlook everything but focus on making sure that the organization achieves its goals. And these goals are summarized into productivity, efficiency, and profitability. Anything outside that, they don't want to give attention. Yes, someone is out there to contribute something.
I'm just wondering how you decided to call it scientific instead of maybe mechanical.
They labeled it scientific because, anyway, he comes from the scientific background of forces and energy. Forces, energy and power. When you have force, you can produce energy, and then there is power. So, because he's having a scientific background of an engineer, so the more the force, the more there is acceleration. There is acceleration. People will accelerate because you have created an environment of force. And when they accelerate, you will achieve more efficiency. Efficiency, remember, in physics and yes. MA out of VR times 100 efficiency. Mechanical advantage divided by velocity ratio times 100. That is efficiency. That is it. So the machine will be more efficient if it is running at a higher speed, and then you have more advantage on the machine. So that is because he had a scientific background in this approach. That's why you see power, they exercise power control over employees. You put in more force, enforce behavior, enforce behavior. Otherwise, people will not act. So the more electricity the machine can consume, the more maybe it can heat. The more it accumulates more heat. So it is more of the manager being an inputter, then the employee is an outputter. So the less you input into employees, the less force you put, the lesser the rules you put, the lesser the supervision, the lesser the productivity, and the lesser the efficiency, and the lesser is the profitability. Then the organization will struggle to achieve its goals. So they believe that by that way, then employees will achieve their goals, the organizational goals. So we need to note that in this environment, there is little attention or no attention towards employees' individual goals. It is more of organizational goals. Now, Gulich and Max Weber studied the Frederick Winslow's assertions on how organization should function to achieve maximum productivity, efficiency, and profitability. And he said that yes, they agree with him. Gulich agrees that it is possible to have maximum productivity, efficiency, and profitability if employees are regulated and they are strictly supervised and the manager is exercising authority over them. But they say that this will wear down the manager, trying to chase over the employee everywhere. And the manager cannot actually afford to be on every employee and in every department. So Gulich supposes that to achieve organizational goals, then these organizations should introduce a system which he called a structure. There should be a structure to follow, which you call the organizational structure, which spells who is in what position, and in what roles, and then which authority does he or she possess in that position. Otherwise, if authority is only centered to a manager or a single person, and is to supervise everyone, it is hard to achieve productivity, efficiency, and profitability, as Frederick Winslow Taylor had proposed. So this structure of course, people who believe in structure, setting up structures, everything must have a structure, a framework. The hierarchy, yes. They are called to be structuralists, or their theory is structuralism. And then their approach, they practice within structures. So it is like a structuralistic approach. That if you were to send, for example, you were to send an instruction to who within the hierarchy, and who is in charge of implementing it, that structure must be in place for efficiency, productivity, and profitability to have to be in organizations. So Gurich agrees with Max Weber. Max Weber also picks the ideas and comes up with what you call the organizational bureaucracy, which is also, bureaucracy means following a hierarchy from top to bottom. From top to bottom. So there should be a hierarchy to be followed from top to bottom. And that hierarchy is what you call a bureaucracy. However, it should also have rules to follow. That's why we shall look at those rules as the principles of a bureaucratic system, or principles of organizational hierarchy, of an organizational hierarchy. So in the contributions of Max Weber, he says that authority must run right from top to bottom. So employees should know who is at the strategic level, the top management. We can look at the board, the head teacher, for example, in schools, and at the strategic level, do the deputy head teachers really are they involved?
No.
Up to the head teacher.
Strategic level is up to the policymakers.
Okay.
Which is the board
Mm.
and the PA. Then at the management, when we can bring now the head teacher and the deputies and maybe the laws.
Okay.
Then the others now at the implementational level.
Okay. So you have the board at the top, where the head teacher is the secretary to the board.
Yeah, to the board, yeah.
Uh-huh. Then at management, the head teacher still comes back, but is working with the deputies and the doors.
Yes.
Then supervisory, there is a supervisory level. We have the departmental heads, the head subject heads, and even this. Okay. There should be those at supervisory level. Even these could be supervisors.
Yeah,
yeah. Such as the facilities manager, we can have facilities supervisor, welfare supervisors, sports supervisors, marketing, and public relations. This is public relations. I put here ETC to mean others. So those are supervisors. But when you see teacher, I've left out teachers under class teacher. They are teachers. So from board of, you have board of governors. This is in a secondary school, but it's primary schools. They have the SMC. Yes. Then PTA, then head teacher, deputy head teacher academic, then the other side deputy head teacher administration. To some schools they split that two. Others they actually have one. Then the DOS for under academics, the director of studies. We have the deputy head teacher. This is the departmental head here. Subject heads, class teachers, teachers, and the prefects. Then on this side of departmental, this is the head teacher, deputy head teacher, administration, and then is in charge of the non-teaching staff. But the non-teaching staff, if the number grows wider, the structure should also be adjusted to accommodate the supervision to be effective and management to be effective. So they can have the facilities supervisor, welfare for food and events. Then sports supervisor, marketing. The school can have a marketing arm. In the private school setting, this one is very key. In the holidays, people are moving in the communities now. So this public relations, there should be someone who is in charge of public relations. Just in the case of there is an incident in the school, there should be a spokesperson, so that not everyone speaks. Gives information. So that's why even here we have a section where it says managing information. I think you people have read about those things. Managing information. We shall see that later. So Max Weber proposes this bureaucracy running from top to bottom. So that means that there must be the strategic level, the management level, the supervisory level, and the operational level. Okay. Yes, even colleges have their structures. And remember that these structures, though schools adopt structures and can formulate their own structures, there are also legal implications for this that influence the structure. That is where we will see the environments. We shall start about environments. But there is also legal environment. For you, you can choose to delete the board of governors. But the government, according to the Education Act of 2008, yes, a school should be headed by the board of governors and the school management committee. So it is a must for it to be on top. You choose to delete it, you are against the government setup. Yes. Okay.
And for the PTA, I know that it's about the parents, teachers.
Now, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Maybe
Mr.
brother or sister who's the head of an institution. As you're explaining, you're very right. But you find that some private institutions, because of the other expenses, they don't want to what? Include the board. The owners of the institution are the ones now who act as the board. But as you say that it is by Act, Education Act 2008, gives room for any institution, either private or government, to have
a board.
the board. What is the work of the board? Is to make policies that govern the organization.
Mm.
In case of the implement, like maybe the safeguarding policy, the human resource policy, the finance, all the policies that govern the institution as a whole, then the managers now they implement on behalf. Then on your case, who formulates, who are the members of the board? In the government institution, the government empowers the foundation body of any institution. I don't know how this institution looks. What's the foundation body of this institution?
Well, the institution has, it is, that foundation body is called the Board of Trustees.
Board of Trustees. Now at the university. But in the primary school or secondary school, we have the religious foundation bodies, like the Catholic founded schools. They give them power to get 6 members. In primary. Five. Six. Is it the secondary? Primary there are 6, then secondary there are 5. Yes. Then they work. Now they get 5 from the foundation body. They can't play the politics in the church. As you know, they choose who gives in. Like who came late here will not qualify to be in the member of the foundation because will always come late to the meeting. So friend, you're welcome. Mr. Kivekayunga, you're welcome. So
But he has missed being a board member.
So,
But he has come with a break. I have a break with him. I am just waiting for you to try.
okay. Okay, that's a break. So, the 6 in primary is got from the foundation body. Then the 5, they now go to the community. The one who represents the district at the school level. The one who represents the sub-county at the school level. The teacher's representative. The OBs. And the OG is one person. Then the parents representative. They are also 6. Else one chairperson. They are also 6. Then the head teacher, who is the secretary. Then school management committee or the board. Is an ex official in that committee. Is that okay for you now? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes?
Okay. The bribe is positive.
The break is supposed to be.
It's a positive bribe. But the person can really bribe us.
Will I afford to eat when I'm speaking? It's not possible. Yeah, exactly. Okay. That is a health break. So I have labored to send you the Education Act of 2008 on your group. It is important for administrators in education institutions to read it entirely. Yes. It is. I have a hard copy in my little library for that act. And a hard copy for, there is also another act of the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act. It is very important for you to read it, to read those two, at least, to read those two.
In any case, if you are an administrator, that's where you base on. Because with the policy of government in institutions like primary, you're not supposed to collect any money from the parents. But when you base on there's a section
Yes.
which says that at least parents should contribute towards the development of the institution. So when somebody now comes in and they feel that you what? You what? You say according to the act.
And then you don't call it school fees. That is for insurance. And then the board must have approved. There should have been minutes for that. They are either meals, development, or you. Yes. So, okay. So we are continuing with the. Now, this hierarchy. This is a hierarchy. It works in various institutions. Various institutions can create their own structures, which we call an organizational structure, organogram, to define how administration will flow in such organizations. Now, this Max Weber's proposal of organization structures within organizations, that when these organizations have organizational structures, then they will have productivity, efficiency, and profitability. And in agreement, Max Weber in agreement with Henry Fayot, they propose principles that organizations that are intending to set an organizational structure should actually respect and follow. So these principles, others call them principles of a bureaucratic system, or principles of a structured organization, a structured organization. Yes.
I'm having a question. Close to that. Now, me, I'm questioning, do we have like authority and rules that are standard that the head teacher is supposed to do this? This falls in his role and authority. That those, or it depends on the school, or we have a standard measure for maybe the government that is put there, that those steps from here and stops here. The HM.
My friend, I've sent you this Education Act. It has that. You are going to read a part which spells the responsibilities of stakeholders in education and training. That is part 3. You're also going to see the powers of the inspector on schools. In part 6, yes. And then who should teach? Who should teach in schools? Part 5. Everything there. But you know the dose is not talked about because it's a delegate to the head teacher. So that is the office of the head teacher.
Yeah. In other words, the dose structure is not in the government.
Yes.
It's the delegation by the head teacher.
Yes. So the head teacher can choose not to have a dose in the school. And it's the dose. Yes. The actual curriculum of a school. Yes. Yes. So he's talking, that's the actual structure. The other is the ideal structure, which should be. Yes. But you make sure that you accommodate the ideal to comply. But in reality, you can have, these ones, you can delete them out. This, provided you cannot accommodate them, because it is not mechanical. But the fundamentals should be there. Even the rules, what can one base on to say this head teacher has violated the what? The code of conduct. It's there. That's why I was advising that you need to read it. So these principles, some of them are listed here. For example, the principle of formalization of rules, which is also called standardization of rules, the principle of specialization of labor, then division of labor, unit of authority, unit of command, or others you can call it chain of command, the unit of control, then rationalization, and we are also going to add on some there. So let us look at one at a time. There's one that has a first year. You can forward it to another platform that you have. Okay. Okay. So, formalization of rules. So, this principle of formalization of rules states that everyone in the organization should have a position, specific roles, and authority documented for him or her. They should be documented. Everyone involved in the organization should fit in a specific position. So I should know that I'm a class teacher, not the head teacher. Should have a position, specific roles, and authority should be defined for that position. And these should be defined in writing. Yes. So that means even if it is advertisement, document it. The specifics of which duties, which positions, which duties, which experience, which expertise you need should be documented for that specific. The certifications and a definition of the qualifications should be written. And on appointing employees, they should know their position and to whom they should report to, and even their remunerations should be documented, so that tomorrow you don't say, hey, now my salary has reduced. Then next month it has increased a little. That in formalization principles, does not hold. Everything should be documented and kept on file. Even appointment letter, transfers, provisions for leaves, everything people should know. Yes. Yes. The thing is, here you're managing expectations, and also in formalization, the organization has the perspective of continuity. There is that principle of continuity, that it is going to when you are not there, someone else should not call you to know what to do. He simply needs to look at what the person should do and what the person has done and continue.
So this letter must detail the roles and
I would like to see someone here. I'm sharing a fundamental tool. I have two groups where I am. Can someone access the group now? The group. I have sent a manual called the Human Resource Manual for Nkumba University as of 2013. You've seen it. Just open it. I want to spend some 7 minutes just for you to see it. Who can read for us the headings? Only I want just only the headings. Yes, table of content. Okay. Someone there, you can read for us the headings.
Under that, we have scopes, objectives, key policy statements, strategies and processes of implementing the recruitment policy. The position shall be deemed to be vacant as a result of.
They also have to spell that. If you got time and read what do they follow to recruit, every one of us knows that the recruitment policy is like that.
Appointment policy.
What do we base on to appoint anybody?
There is a scope, objectives, key policy statements.
Just read the main headings.
Okay. Attendance to duty and working hours policy.
That is, there is a policy that regulates attendance to duty and regulating working hours.
Remuneration policy.
What's the policy for setting salaries?
Human resource development policy.
What is the policy for training workers?
Performance management policy.
How do we know that workers are actually performing?
Leave policy.
And what do we base on to assign or to give leaves to employees?
Health, safety and welfare of staff policy.
What should we follow to ensure that the health and the staff health and their safety and welfare is cared for? For example, if you got sick within the university, or you got sick at your home and you're perennially there, what should the university do?
Conduct and discipline policy.
If someone had a misconduct, what are the processes to discipline?
Grievances management.
If there are grievances, these are grievances, where do you report? And then if where you have reported you're not worked upon, where else do you go?
Promotion policy.
Promoting an assistant lecturer to lecturer, from lecturer to senior lecturer, and from senior lecturer to professorship. What do we follow?
Internal transfer of staff policy.
If you are transferring someone from one department to another, from one school to another school, what do you follow? And what processes do you undergo to have the person transferred?
Management of staff record policy.
If we have records for staff, how do you manage their records? Like wherever you upgrade, there's somewhere you go and add your papers.
Employee relations policy.
So now that is the relation between management and employees, and employee with employees. Now the salary structure is, if you see list of tables, procedures for recruitment for academic staff, salary scales and roles and accountability, salary structure, allowances, salary increments to be how should they follow, transport allowances, all of them are there. That is a formalized system. Yes. So, in a formalized this policy, managers should not have all these rules and the policies and standards on their minds. Everything should be documented. We go to specialization of labor. And that is also generalized to be specialization itself without even labor. Can be specialization or specialization of labor. In specialization, generally, you can say, my institution is a bread producing institution. When we find you a bread producing institution, which is also having entertainment, like you are playing music, and then you have not specialized. This is a university, not a primary school. So your setup is a university. That's your area of specialization. So in organizations which don't respect specializations, then they are said to be unbureaucratic. They are actually informal. Where this week you are a primary school, next year you are a secondary school, and then yes. If COVID comes, it's a hotel. So in specialization of labor, even workers are recruited in special positions according to their expertise. Others call this specialization of labor a principle of expertise. That because you are an accountant, when you are to be given a position in a school, you are not given a position to teach. Because of this principle of specialization. Your expertise is to account, not to teach. If you are an accountant and again we find you on a meter for electrical a freezer trying to fix it, that is not within the principle of bureaucracy. Even if you studied the computer literacy and you are good at computers, very staunch bureaucratic believers will not allow you to touch anything unless you have produced a record that you have studied it. Then division of labor. This division of labor states that members of the same faculty or the same expertise belong to the same department. You get that? If it is a geography department, all teachers of geography belong to that department, even if you don't want to be a member of that department. Because labor is divided in according to people's inclination and their expertise. When I entered here, I was they assessed to see what best I teach. Then they classified me to teach professional course units and entrepreneurship. So they can give me Christian religious education and teach it, but it's not within the what? It is. I studied it and I teach it well, but it's not what they captured. They have captured and classified me, divided me from all, and put me under that. So when I see the timetable and I'm not in teaching divinity, it's not. So I've got to be in that. So that's why when people upgrade and you want to widen your boundaries of where you have been divided, you've got to go and explain to those people, tell them, so that they adjust your walls. Otherwise, you still remain under that particular classification. Unity of authority. Unity of authority. This principle states that authority must flow from top to bottom. So, members at the top of the hierarchy should exercise more control to those at the bottom. So that means even if you see the head teacher doesn't have that enough knowledge, but you're a class teacher and is saying something, you've got to act, or otherwise you request to be listened to. And when your request is not approved, you simply act. Yes. You see, when the president went the other time when the traders demonstrated, there is a ministry of finance which is in charge of operations of Uganda Revenue Authority. So Uganda Revenue Authority has a commissioner on top there. When the president heard that the traders were demonstrating against URA's IFRIS actions, and that they had raised penalties on them, whether with inquiry or with no inquiry from the Minister of Finance, he said, you cancel out those penalties. They had to go on the systems and go to every bank and discredit what they had debited to make the penalties to zero. That one, because the ministry is his what? Department. That's the ministry of, all ministries are the offices of the president. So it is his office. So being at the top of the hierarchy would mean exercising more authority to those at the bottom. However, there is also the chain of command. The chain of command now makes it a little clearer that the supervisor, or we call them superiors. The superior should exercise authority to the immediate subordinate. Yes. How does the command flow? that the superior should exercise authority to the immediate supervisee or those subordinates. So, and that flows still from top to bottom. That means that the deputy academic will exercise control. That's a deputy head teacher academic will exercise control to the immediate subordinate, who is the DOS. If there is any issue happening within the department of maybe English language, that's a subject department, then the deputy head teacher academic will have to tell the DOS to act. Otherwise, he will have violated the chain of commanding. It is like a chain is like a kajegere. Yes, it should flow. So if a member of the board of governors wanted to change something in a class, should not come to the class teacher and say, you teach using this method. That will have violated the chain of command, that principle. I want to change this word from unit of control to another word, span of control. To span. Span. What is a span? So you've seen how they are built the flyovers with pillars, and from a pair of pillars or from a set of pillars to another set of pillars is a span. That's the distance between them. Yes. So from that pillar to another pillar is the span. So the wider the pillars go apart, the weaker either the road or the wall can be. So in this principle, every supervisor should have a defined span of control. If he's a class teacher, how many learners should a single class teacher effectively manage? That's the span. It has to be defined. Otherwise, a teacher will have to be overwhelmed with 100 learners if you have not defined the span of control. So, span of control spells how many subordinates should a single superior exercise control, but effectively. So those have got to be defined. And you can even work for the entire For the entire organization. That if you have one general manager, can that general manager manage 1 million of workers with other departmental managers? Possibly, if that institution reaches 1 million, maybe it has gone beyond the span of one manager. You've got to introduce another branch or another campus of the school with another head teacher, or yes, to manage it. Otherwise, a single head teacher will struggle. Then possibly, because you've put up 2 head teachers, you need to have a director to manage them. So the wider the span, most likely the less the effectiveness. But this also depends on the character and the expertise or the management traits of the leader. That's why they say that the more you increase in expertise, the more they adjust your span of control. The moment they realize that you have lost expertise, they narrow down your span of control. That's what you call demotion. Then there is this rational, others call it rationalization. Of decision. This principle of rational decision making states that employees in a bureaucratic setting don't have to do as they wish. Not have to do as they wish, but as the regulations and principles of the organization stand. If in your preference you wish you need to sleep somehow enough and wake up at 9 and be at workplace, and that's what will make you very effective. But provided the organization has set the time 7:30, you forego your wish and follow the organizational wishes. Those are goals. This principle is also called the insubordination of workers. Insubordination is remove the perspective from workers that it is them to decide as they wish. But yes, you remove that perspective according to this principle, that it is them to decide as they wish. They should first look at what the institution wants and do what the institution wants. Yes. I'm giving you an example here. If the directors say on Monday we want the learners to be retired from school due to tuition, due to school fees, and you are the finance manager in this institution, and that you had in your view talked to even some parents that and collected their pledges and scheduled when they should pay. A day after, when the directors want the learners to be retired from school, if that is what they want, you go and send grudgingly retire these students from school, telling them you will pay, go and bring school fees. But when my father came, I'm going to talk to him. We want money. The school is not in a good state. You're doing it not because you wish, but because you have been insubordinated. The dean may want a particular person to come and teach at what? Even at after completing bachelor's. When it is really satisfied, this person can actually do what? Teach. And the person can do it well. But the institution says that person should not teach. Has got to be interviewed, has got to present those papers. When the dean tries to use her position to bring this person and the person starts to teach, and they discover it, the dean has not acted, has violated the principles of the organization. Yet she has been doing it for the good of the people. So you have to take a rational decision. You do something even if you don't want, you have to do it that way, because that's what the organization wants. You hate yellow color, you don't want it, you even saw in the community that you will never see me in yellow, but the organization says that our color is yellow. They will have to find you in yellow, or otherwise you don't join the organization. You put on a scarf. You have to put it on. Then the other principles, I want to summarize this, is the principle that states that everything should have a place, and it must have its place. Everything must have a place and it should be in its place. That is how the principle states. I do not have its name. Yes. Everything must have a place and must be in its place. So that principle, don't want to find cups in toilets. A car off the parking yard and it is parked in front of the building. Books in the kitchen, and the books must have the library and should be in the library. Teaching aids must be in the section for teaching aids, not anywhere else. Yes?
I want to bring you back to the chain of command, whereby we said that supervisors should exercise authority to delegate several duties. But you may find that some departments, like they have some how could you solve such a problem without conflict? Whereby English department, yes, you must talk to the head of the department, maybe score a but again you realize the changes don't appear, and then you don't want to jump ladders.
Then you go back to the authority above you to give that feedback. You get it?
Teacher.
You're a teacher?
Yes. I must report to the head of the department that the department head is a bit crippled, is not perfect.
Okay.
But I don't want to jump ladders, so that I put the chain of command.
Okay.
How can I have that without conflict?
Okay. You can now create a formalized system where you show how people should do, handle where they should go when they have grievances with the next what? Their immediate supervisor. You in your policies, you should sense that that happens, and then you create an alternative. Yes. Yes, please.
The transparent established organized system, if the immediate supervisor is made aware and adamantly does not take action or respond as expected, please never fear to go to another level above that supervisor. Because the system is what? Transparent. The problem is when the system is not transparent. But when it is transparent, you will even call your supervisor. They say, but you reported. What happened? Where did you fail? Where are you? We help you to roll. So it means that there is no way how the organization will get affected because the immediate supervisor did not respond as expected or take action. So this person must go and report about to the person supervising his supervisor and really show that really, I have tried to talk to my supervisor. Not one. For example, you were the head of biology department, but the teachers are asking for chemicals, but you don't provide them. Now they can go and talk to those director of studies or the deputy in charge of academics. And please, we have talked to our head of department. Is it that you also make him to fail or what? Are you failing us as department? Then definitely the deputy teacher or the academics will call upon the head of department and say, please, but you were before applying for chemicals, what happened? And finally, you will see the head immediately acting, and if not, then you have to explain himself what his or her intentions are.
Yes, the last one.
Under normal circumstances, you don't want to call.
Yes.
Okay, example, okay. That's when you have the
Okay.
But when you find
Yes, in the lecture.
that people take their authority at their own
Okay.
stage, you get friction. But what people should know, and like you have told the structure there, that whatever comes from up is a command or an order. And whatever comes from down, going up is a request or an appeal. But sometimes someone from the lower position may push a request in form of a command. That's why I made it find that the head of department is not asking, what you are ordering the person, I want this. Once you understand that if I'm talking to my boss, I'm pushing the request, not a command, not an order. It is him who pushes above. The above may bring something in form of a request, but receive it as a command. It comes as a request, but it is a command from top to bottom, command. Bottom to top, request. Once you realize that, I think you will not have friction.
Okay.
Secondly, when you find that maybe your supervisor or your head of department has not acted, you can maybe first of all discuss this in your department meetings. That sometimes we push this and things will not work out before you go to the authority. It is very dangerous to skip your boss. If your boss is left or crippled, like he's saying, try to encourage the person to move ahead slowly, but not easily. I disagree with going about it.
We shall. You respond and then you go ahead.
Actually, But if, let's look at this question, where the head of department takes the position, gets the money, and translates the money into his own benefits. Which way? I will say, please, don't have to send that No! The issue will remain that you are supposed, because if you don't do the practical, and at the end of the term, if you found out you never did any practical, and you get fired, one, you will be solely responsible. Yes, you will point to others, but you will say you will not hold the practicals as they were expected to be done or covered. So it means you have not done your work. The only way you must do away with this is to look for any other ear to listen to you. And that one must be the religious supervisor or your supervisor. You should have got the head teacher, that one you should have thrown it out of shape. But go to the immediate, but the DOS is the one supervising the head of the department. The deputy academics is also in charge. And by the way, what is done is the head can even, after reporting, the head can even invite, that is the head of the deputy academics, can invite your head and even. Yes, that's what is very true. And that is what I call the transparent one.
Okay.
Now, this gentleman wants to come. But whichever decision he has made, what is the problem? Hey, you mean we don't have one? So finally, you will see that it's going to be humble. But definitely, when you are so much interested in fixing, and you have seen it happen, that you just have to accept this is my weakness, you even apologize, and then we move on. But when you say,
okay. So then there is still that principle of accountability. That accountability should flow from bottom to top in the form of reporting. From bottom to top. Yeah, feedback. That is now feedback. Feedback from top to bottom. But reporting in form of accountability from, yes. Yeah, but also should follow that, what we saw in the chain of command. In some organization, you define to whom they should report. Otherwise, everyone will be demanding for a report. So, yes. Yes, correct. Yes, it is also there.
If we are employing collective responsibility, I think this teacher is right to take action to go to the next level. If he has failed to get assistance from his immediate supervisor, I think that is acting based on that collective responsibility. We are collectively responsible so that things are moving well in our organization.
Yes, that is very right. But remember that you must have formalized it. Let the people know what to do in case of difficulties. You can anticipate it. In a bureaucratic setting, people should not act as they see fit. but as the formal systems say. So you have to have directed them. Like here, you've seen a section where there was handling grievances. Those grievances, if you are to handle them, what does the person do? If the immediate supervisor is not responsive, then you direct the person to go. But if the person still finds these challenges, then you can refer the person to the what? To the head teacher. What is they are creating an immunity within the system that people should still remain thinking that this is still my boss. The moment you create an environment where people think that you are the boss, when they come to you, it is sorted. They do not need that immediate supervisor. You've now broken the structure. But in case that happens, there are situations which happen, you need to handle them with sensitivity. That handling strategy is either going to maintain the structure or break it or strengthen it. So that I was with Madame Diana. Madame Diana is an inspector, you know, she's at the district there. So she was telling me that when I'm telling you this because it is that you are doing administration. She was telling me that when some teachers who are stubborn with their head teachers choose to go to the district, she can choose to tell them, wait, but I'm busy, I'm so busy, wait, but the time has gone, please come back tomorrow. Then until she goes back and says, but let me listen to the head teacher. But now you cannot afford to be having all the teachers coming to the district every day, thinking that they will have issues in schools and running to your office. You will end up being a head teacher of all the schools in the district. So you can handle some issues, but when you realize that you've done a survey and found that the issue is the indiscipline of this person, find a way of dealing with that discipline, but refer the person back to the head teacher. Otherwise, it is a transfer. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Now there is this tendency of maybe the deputy head teacher being the most skilled in administration. Very hardworking, everything is doing everything. And when it comes to the side of the head teacher, feels like this person wants to take over. I have an experience in that. One time I was a deputy, and my boss, the head teacher, had gone outside Uganda for almost a term. So when she came back, she was given a report that everything was moving on normally. And the lady thought that I was taking over her position. So she invited me and questioned me. So it has not happened to me alone.
Even many people, yes.
And one time one of our bosses at the district told us that when you see that your boss, the head teacher, is bragging, you should also do the same. Make sure you don't overstay to avoid what? Conflict. I don't know what you can say about it.
They have set up an education structure, though we have still weaknesses in it, that when the teacher has issues, can even go outside the school because the structure continues. It is possible, but in a formalized setting, just as you know, they do not want to have hearsay. They need to have some record to base on them. that means either you have been you have a record, like she maybe talked to you, you have a proof that that is actually happening. Otherwise, it will be dealing with Rugambo. In a formalized setting, they are more. Is it written? Is it recorded? Then it is formal. We can base on it. So,
now, the side of this deputy who is hard working, hard working, wants to see things that are moving on well, and the head teacher is there, the government, whatever it is.
yes, I have. What is your advice to her? What do you do?
You step down.
Yes.
Yeah, I think when we are working, you have to be balanced. You need to know what your parameters are in the first sense. Okay? What does my where does my jurisdiction end? Okay? So when you are working, sometimes you can do something, but you must also be aware of being inquisitive, or be sensitive. Where I am going is for my head. This is a bit of my what? My head. Sometimes you can be good, even by other people, but you can be free to tell them that is for the head teacher to handle, not you. Maybe if the head teacher has now delegated you, go and do this for you step in. But there are some sensitive issues. Even if you see it rambling, maybe you can whisper a head teacher as an administrative friend. In a way, in a technical way, you can whisper the head teacher in a technical way that there is something going wrong here.
Yes.
Such that the head teacher goes and handles it directly and him or herself. But sometimes when you step out when you a role that is not yours, it brings conflict. This one now begins to see you as a person who wants to usurp the powers.
And again, you need to keep on flaunting his name, so that he doesn't see you as a marketeer. Sorry? I want to summarize.
Just say, in administration, we have got laws that each other need to support the place. Now, like the case my sister is representing, what can I do when I have Shako? You get me to give support to one another. And then there's something to do complicated. The fact that they have got a deputy teacher, sometimes they forget the word and they think they are teachers. They want to do it. And that's what brings conflict. So the moment you know your roles, like some of us are about to dance before becoming a teachers, you need to seek authority from the immediate authority. The teacher then says, what can we do? In the form of running well, can we do this? And in one the other, you are minding him or her WhatsApp in some way. So I've forgotten, I'm going to handle that one. Because also knows that is not what you are not. So in the case of such a situation happening, people who are here, because you are learning this language, you need to learn to consult your supervisor, who is your student. What you
I wanted to know, are you still the head deputy there? You are now head teaching. Okay. Now you are in a best position. Because there are some people, members, there are some people who are supposed they have to be there. And even when you place them here, they start to conflict with the administration because they are misplaced. So for you, you see a fighter, but the person has potential there. However, you also have pretenders. When you put them there, they will not perform. So we have to be just sensitive that there are those people who can really need to be there. I was actually going to request some of you who are in some positions to promote her from being from being a deputy, but now she's a head teacher. Okay. So, yes.
When I look at you, this principle, as if decision making, mindset, responsibility,
No, of course, when you study, that's why we have another approach, a complementary approach to this. Otherwise, this was the original, the initiating approach, the scientific management approach, which later on, like you are putting some gaps. You are discovering some gaps in this approach, demanding for another approach. So not all that this approach brought is discarded in the second approach, but a refinement was very central. Now, in our conclusion, the last principle, that one we've even published it, I was part of it, is the principle of proximity. Yes. Like proximo, being near or far. The principle of proximity. Yes? You also add, it's only that it's not now Henry Fayo, it is me. Yes. Yes. Under principles of bureaucratic management, that is. In authorship, you have the authority. The word author comes from the word authority. You have the authority to improve or disapprove and add. So the principle of proximity states that the manager or the superior should be close to employees, to subordinates. Should be close. Yes? Yes, the manager or the superior. Superior is general. The manager or the superior should be close, like near to the subordinates, to feel his love, for those subordinates to feel his love, but should keep a distance to avoid familiarity. So it means that when these employees, you are always in the office, you don't want to visit them. When they are at the dining, you don't want to be there. They will feel like you don't love them. You underlook them. But again, when you are with them, joking every time with them, they will get familiarity, and they may not even take your instructions as serious. We thought you were joking. Yes. So let us look at Henry Fayo and Gorich contribution to management functions. Henry Fayo That one is written Henry Fayo and Gurik Henry with HenriFayol, and Gulick is Gulick. So that one you can call it management functions, the name for what we are going to share here. If you are writing headings, you can say management functions. If you are to see that there is management happening in an institution, these are some of the things you can look at to see that actually management is there. P stands for planning. So those organizations should show that they have a plan, a documented plan, upon which they are operating. Those organizations should show there should be a documented plan. You could have like strategic plan, then action plan or operational plan. The plans should be there. In some other organizations, they should work towards ensuring that there is a long-term plan, a mid-term plan, and a what? And a short-term plan. So in some organizations, you will find that there is a parking yard. But in the long-term plan, that is a temporary parking yard. Maybe there is a building that is going to be there. They may tell you, no, don't build there. But you see the place is bushy. You just rush. Build the other side. Maybe there the long-term plan is showing that there should be a road. So those plans are there. So then O stands for organizing. Those are functions of management. Organizing. In organizing, there should be positions. We maybe start with, there should be a structure, and with the positions and the authority. There should be a structure, positions, and authority. That means that it is not necessary that when you have them, you can even have positions which are still vacant. But in organizing, you need to know who is needed to be included in the organization structure. That happens even before you do the S called staffing. Because you staff according to the organization structure. So in organizing will even show how many you need, the number of placeholders or position holders. Then staffing. Staffing involves a recruitment process, those are considerations for the recruitment process. What should people do if they want to staff, to add a member onto the organization, and the considerations for each, or considerations, you can say requirements for each employee. The performance targets, that's the ones you call KPIs, the key performance indicators. Tenure of service. Tenure of service. If the person has been given a job, how long should the person stay working? Just tenure of service. If the contract is 10 years, then that is the tenure. Then also the code of conduct, and the terms of service. Staffing should also talk about remunerations and then the compensations for labor. You know what you should add on there. Here we just want to be summarized. Then later on, determination. What should be considered, the considerations for termination of service. Under what? The considerations for termination of service. People should know. If my services are to be terminated, is it upon expiry of contract? Is it upon misconduct? Is it upon perennial, recurrent sickness? All that you should clearly state, so that someone does not get sick for 2 years and then he comes back, he says you no longer have your position. Yet in the terms of termination, we are not talking about such situations. But when he knows that if it goes beyond 1 year, they are free to have someone there. I happen to have been in a company called La Fontaine, and the lady was terminated by word of mouth. And here I was a new person there. She was called, she was called either Mildred. After like 7 years, for me I was like 2 years in the company, but she had been terminated earlier. She came back and said, I have ever worked here. This is the appointment letter I have, and then I have come for my position. I've come to work. So then I got some challenges and moved out. But I was not terminated. This girl became a challenge I have never seen. She sat there and said, I'm going nowhere. I've come at my job to work. Yes. Sorry? She was working at a branch at Kampala Road, Cham Towers.
How did she go out of that company?
I think she was told that, please, you go. We no longer have a position for you, but when we get the company is better, we shall one time call you. The lady went to the labor offices, came with the letters. Came with letters that we need to consider her. They say, please consider the complainant's issue. She said, now I have come. Wherever she would come, removing her from there, she would stay up too late when you are closing. And then we said, if she stays like this, she's going to claim for a salary. Because she has been coming to work. We went and brought police. They carried her, she was touching everywhere to hold back. Until she gave up. She tried even after police. She returned. Everyone explained it to her. She even sent mails claiming for the position.
She was terminated were not right. Why is it that they did right in the termination rate? Yes, she had the appointment letter. The moment you give someone a job with appointment letter, even you have to terminate them with that.
I think you need to look at the Employment Act and see what it says when a person has been verbally terminated. And does it? I just need to review it and see whether it gives a span within which a person should reclaim the job. Otherwise, after 7 years and you're claiming, if we go to the court, I think, yes. Yes?
No, I don't know whether this lady was recruited and she was given an appointment.
She was.
But then she just, I think, lost that sense of engaging the law, the arm of the law. Otherwise she would have won. Because if somebody had an appointment lady, then you must formally
Terminate her.
her service. But also, you find that if you are not talk there, if you are under barriers. For example, does the company possess the staff manual? Because that staff manual should indicate when do we terminate abscondment from duty. That is after how many days?
Abscondment.
Must also be in conformity with
The,
the level.
yes.
Because it should not deviate from there. So this lady, I think, was not knowledgeable enough that if she had used the arm of the law, she would have. But that was not enough. She could have engaged the lawyer. And then after 7 years, because she was not, there is no proof that these people terminated her.
You see, okay. Yes, thank you.
To show that she signed for that later. Because sometimes when we are getting later, we do not make people to sign. So they can say, oh, Baba, you want to sign it.
And even if when they sign, you need to reconcile their signatures. Because in some companies which are very strict, they have a signature register. You register a signature. Even banks use it. Register the signature. When they are signing to receive the disappointment letter, I would call it, the termination letter, they can use another signature. The record you have has another signature. That's not me. That's not my signature. And she's the one actually who signed. Or he's the one who signed. I almost think the girl stayed unemployed for long.
Did she happen to claim for her salary from the time she was stopped?
No, she said she's not demanding any money. No, she has come back to work. Yes, to work. I felt pity for her. If I had a job, I would give her elsewhere. She went on my Facebook account and sent via messenger a claim via messenger. That messenger, I'm still following up on my job via messenger. I had to seek for how to block her. Then she continued on the email, because email, I think I don't know whether there is a way you can block people from sending you emails. So directing that people.
Now, excuse me.
Yes.
How do we handle these verbal terminations? Because we are really
So your institution, it means your institution is partially formal. Yes.
That's the question.
Yes. It is partially formal. And that person can go in the labor laws and sue you, and then you have to compensate. Because even termination on terms which are initiated, on situations that are initiated by the institution itself, other than the employee, the company or that organization has got to pay 3 months upfront for that employee.
But also, in issues of verbal termination, you as the manager, you can also have put yourself in alignment. Because if this employee chooses to go and sue, this employee may sue two parties. May sue the company and you the individual who has done that one.
Termination.
Because now we have done it as self. We are not doing it on behalf of the company. If we are doing it on behalf of the company, it should have a letter that bears the company name where you are acting on behalf.
On your own behalf.
You are acting on behalf of the company. But if you do a verbal termination, that means you have done it as yourself. You're not acting on behalf of the company. So if that employee chooses not to go away, you have no way to send him.
Yes.
If you do a verbal termination.
The employee can choose to return the following day. And that's when you realize that in our actions, we are actually dealing with government. That employee, if she sues you, yes.
They come and make research, the workers know the person. If it is a school, the people know the person.
The people, the children know.
The community, they know. The parents.
You are dealing with the entire community by having a single person. Yes.
No, I mean I do not appoint that person. I employ this person without an employee. But here comes that this person is not giving me results.
Now,
how can I create the worst one?
now that comes in a policy manual. For example, when you operate an administration, you should have a kind of policy manual
that helps you to execute some decisions. So in this case, if a worker does like this, what do we do? Maybe we are going to give this employee a letter of concern. You have not done a ABCD for this period. Can you please go and change